theory is so promising. Amazing beefy meatballs in a rich tomato sauce, layered on top with melty cheese and a soft sub bun. Unfortunately, often the reality looks like this. You know, we can do a lot better than this, can't we? We're going to make the ultimate meatball sub. Quick pickled red onions are super quick, hence the name. They add a lovely pickly crunch to the top of your sub, so it's worth doing. This is, I don't know, about 100 ml of vinegar. I'm not doing this scientifically, okay? I'm just putting in, that's 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. Mix it all up and dissolve it. Okay, get the onions in here. This will be good to top our sub in about an hour. You could keep it for a couple of weeks and the flavours will just grow. I wouldn't leave it longer than a couple of weeks unless you're scientific about the levels of acid you're using. When you're making a meatball sub, you want a soft sub roll. 350 ml lukewarm water in. Tablespoon of yeast. Add half a teaspoon approximately of sugar. Let that stand for 5 minutes just to get the yeast activated. Now I'm going to add 3 more teaspoons of sugar. I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of salt. I'm going to add 3 teaspoons vegetable oil. The fat makes it fluffy. 500 grams of flour. Plain flour for this is fine. I'm not sieving. I'm not adding it in little bits. Honestly, who's got time for it? Chuck it in, get it done. Now I'm going to mix this with a dough hook for about 5 minutes or so. This has been sat here in the mixing bowl for about 15 minutes. This is a very wet dough, so I'm going to put some flour down. Now all I'm doing at this point is dividing the mixture into 2, because this is going to make 2 subs. Got 1 batch of dough in the freezer and cook 1 for our sub. I'm just kneading this a little bit more just to work some of this extra flour in. Also because it's fun to knead, you know. Form into a ball. I'm going to leave that for another 15 minutes, let it rise a little bit more. My dough has been resting. Now I'm going to shape it and get it ready for baking. Make it into a bit of a square to get a seam, and then I'm going to gently tease it out into a sub shape. This should make a 12-inch sub. That's about 12 inches, I reckon. I'm going to leave that for 20 minutes to puff up a bit, then it's going to go in a 190 degree C oven, which is about, 375 Fahrenheit, for probably about 20-30 minutes, and then you've got your sub roll. So we've got 500 grams, which is about a pound of beef. If you can, ask your butcher for chuck steak is good. Delicious mortadella. Let's say they're 1/4-inch pieces, just for extra Italian flavour. Heavy pinch of salt. And not too much because the mortadella is quite salty. 2 whole eggs. Thank you, chicken. This is breadcrumbs. This is about 250 grams, 200 grams of breadcrumbs. Ripping off some parsley. Please don't ask me to say how much parsley I'm putting in. That much parsley. I'm going to throw in, I'm going to call it a sprig. I'm adding a second sprig, people. Get your hands into it. It's the only way. Squelch it up. When I was putting together this recipe, I thought this will make about 26 small meatballs. Probably going to be 13 out of these. I made them way too big. In here is the greatest 3 things in the world, otherwise known as onions, carrots, and celery, with a bit of salt and a bit of pepper. Now these are cooked down a bit. I'm going to add in a tin of tomatoes. Please get the best tomatoes you feel like you can stretch for. A healthy dollop. Double cream. Turn it right down. I'm going to cook that for 40 to 45 minutes till it's done. Okay, we're ready to make our meatball sub. The bread is out of the oven. It's got a bit of crust on the outside. It's soft and fluffy on the inside. It's looking so good. The meatballs, they've cooked down. They're rich. They're meaty. They're absolutely immense. See how many of these oversized ones I can fit in here. 4 meatballs going in there. Give it a bit of sauce over the top. Oh yeah, right. The cheese, very important. I've gone Taleggio, the Italian stallion. It's mild so it doesn't overpower the flavour, but it's strong enough to taste of something. It melts incredibly well. Taleggio. I'm just tearing off bits to put on it to cut through all of that fat and all of that richness. And I'm just going to sprinkle a few on top. Okay, let's cut into it. Oh, it'll change your life.